Hi, in this video we're going to talk about equilateral triangles. Now, one quick note to make before we start talking about the whole equilateral triangle is that the sum of all the angles in a triangle will always equal to 180 degrees. Now this rule applies for any type of triangle, okay, not just the equilateral, but you'll hear me repeat this rule with the other videos regarding triangles, okay. Now, one of the things to remember for the equilateral triangle is that all the sides are congruent, okay? So when you hear the terminology of congruent sides, all it's saying is that all sides or segments have the same length. It means these little lines right here will identify each of these lines as being congruent, okay? Now, the second thing to remember about an equilateral triangle is all the angles of the equilateral triangle are 60 degrees. If you know one angle in an equilateral triangle, you know all the angles. For example, if we go ahead and name this angle A, angle B, and angle C, and we only have the measure for angle A as 60 degrees, and we want to find out the angle for the measure for angle B, this second rule for an equilateral triangle will automatically tell us that angle B will measure 60 degrees, as well angle C. Now, notice how all the angles are equal. The third thing to remember about the equilateral triangle is that you might hear that all the angles are congruent, okay? The equilateral triangle will have congruent angles. All that means is that they have the exact same measure. That's all that's saying. Okay, so let's go ahead and work a couple of problems with the equilateral triangle. First, we're going to find the missing angle in this equilateral triangle. Let's go ahead and make this angle C, angle A, and angle B. Okay, now if angle A is the only one that is given, and angle A is 60 degrees, how will I know what angle C is? Now there's a couple of ways to figure this out. The first one is to go ahead and remember that note that I told you in the very beginning that the sum of all the angles in the triangle is 180 degrees. Well, we can go ahead and work out a simple equation that will give us the missing angle there. Or we can just go ahead and subtract from 180. That will give us that missing angle. Or the easiest way to do it is to remember this rule. All the angles in the equilateral triangle are 60 degrees. So you get away from actually doing all the work and just find that it's 60 degrees. So what is the measure for angle C? Since all the angles in an equilateral triangle are congruent, the measure for angle C is 60 degrees. Not that hard, right? Now let's go ahead and go to this example. Which of the following is true about an equilateral triangle? Okay. Now, first of all, let's go ahead and mark what we know about an equilateral triangle on this triangle. We know that all the sides of an equilateral triangle are congruent, which means this line is congruent to this line, and these two lines are congruent to this line. Okay? The second thing we're going to mark on the equilateral triangle is the angles. We know that all the angles in an equilateral triangle are congruent, which means this angle is congruent to this angle, and those two angles are congruent to this angle. Okay, that's all the information we have for an equilateral triangle. Now let's look at the answer choices that we have. We're looking for what is true about an equilateral triangle. Let's look at the first answer choice. Angle A plus angle B equals 180 degrees. Is that true? No. As we said before, with an equilateral triangle, all of the angles are going to be congruent. Okay, so let's go ahead and prove answer choice A wrong. We know that the sum of all the angles in a triangle are 180 degrees. We know that in an equilateral triangle, all the angles are the same. So we're going to divide 180 degrees by 3. If we divide 180 by 3, that will give us, how many times does 3 go into 18? 6. (18 minus 18 is 0. Bring down to 0. Can 3 go into 0? No. So then we know our answer choice is 60. So each angle each angle in the equilateral triangle is 60 degrees, just as we mentioned before. Now, just so we won't get confused, let's go ahead and name each angle. Let's call this one angle A, angle B, and angle C. So let's go ahead and let's do what the answer choice A is telling us to do. Let's add angle A and angle B. Angle A is 60 degrees, so we're going to write 60 degrees plus angle B is 60. 60 plus 60 is equal to 120 degrees. So we have just proven answer choice A wrong. Let's go ahead and skip to answer choice C. None of the angles are equal. Is that true about an equilateral triangle? We have just proven that each angle in an equilateral triangle will measure 60 degrees. So obviously answer choice C is incorrect. Let's look at answer choice B. Angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 180 degrees. Let's go ahead and prove that answer choice. Angle A is 60. Angle B is 60. And angle C is 60. They're all zeros. 6 plus 6 plus 6. 180. So our answer choice is B. And that's all for equilateral triangles.